Hi guys, Mr. Villagran here. Okay, so we're getting ready to wrap this up, and the first thing you want to keep in mind is that we are in the key of C minor. The first chord we used was C minor, and the last chord we will use should be C minor. Okay, so let's start out by expanding our space. We need 32 measures in total, which we already have. Okay, this is 29, 30, 31, 32. But we're going to add another measure just for the final notes to be able to sound off for a little bit longer. So let's see, I'm going to add, just one or two measures. When you click on the loop here, this is a little bit tricky. You have to, let me see. There it is. So you want that little right there. That's it. So we'll stop right there. We'll hit on the loop, and we have a lot of extra measures. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna click right here at the end of measure 8, right on measure 9. We're going to select all, and then right click. We're going to split at playhead. Okay, done deal. Okay, now this space right here, I'm going to do a right click, copy and paste. The cursor needs to be at the end for that to happen. Right there. Go back to this one, copy. The cursor needs to be right there. Paste. Same thing, we're going to go down our instruments, make sure that every time wherever the cursor is, that's where you're going to get your notes. After that it can move, but you need to make sure you're starting where you need. Alright, and that's pretty much it. So right there we have our 32 measures, and all we gotta do is add a melody. Okay, that's pretty much it. The first thing we want to do is unmute the guitar or the melodic instrument that you chose. Now I'm gonna hold here. I'm gonna go left to highlight, and I'm gonna click on the delete button. You should already know, and you should have used your Schoology. You want to use your Schoology page where it tells you which notes to use or what arpeggios to use for each chord. And those are the notes. We're in C minor, so you can use C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, and C. And there's different arpeggios, depending on the chord, if you're on the A section or you're on the B section. Now, what we're going to do is I need us to go to the very end, and we're going to be adding just an ending, okay? Because we need to have some, I guess, like a sense, that the song has concluded. So let's go to the chords. We're gonna go to View. We want our editor. We're gonna start with the piano, and we need to make sure that you are. Once you click here, on right there, it'll take you there on here. So we're gonna finish up with the C minor chord. Okay. So I press my command. Right there, I have to expand it. Let go and expand. So E flat, G, The last note there is actually the ninth, so it becomes a minor ninth chord. That's what I have. Okay. Let's go to the next instrument, which is going to be the 35th, the bass. So we click here, so it takes us exactly to that point. And we're going to finish with this low C note right there. But I also want to add this C, which is an octave above. So it's two C's. They're an octave apart, and that's gonna give us a nice thicker texture for that chord. For the drums, I actually do want to add with. Okay, I need to click right there. Okay, so I need to finish this with some cymbals. So I'm gonna click here. Some crash cymbals. So that's what we're gonna finish with. Let's go to this effect that we used, the seismic, which was a siren sound. And for that one, we're pretty much just going to extend. So I need to click here, so it takes us to measure 32. And I'm gonna command. Okay, so that's pretty much it. And here on the Dreamy Bells effect, we are only going to add a C note. So we need to be on measure 32, right there. And this is going to be C3. Okay, are we on measure 33? No, we're not. This is C3. Command. And that's pretty much all we need. We are all done here. So now the only thing to do is to add our melody. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of options to go ahead and do the melody. Now I'm going to back here a little bit. I'm going to go back and I want you guys to just hear the ending. Let's see what it sounds like. There, just a simple ending. No fade out or anything like that. Alright, so I'm gonna, let's see. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna show you guys a couple of ideas that I already kind of did with the melody. Okay, so here are a couple of ideas. Let's see here. Okay. So I added a melody here. As you can see, I did a lot of copy and paste. For the guitar, at the end, I added more reverb. You can mess with the ambient sound, with the highs and lows. This is pretty much the settings that I kind of used. But I want you guys to see the notes. So I'm gonna go to the editor, and I want you guys to see the notes as they play. So here it is. So if you notice there, I had a different melody for the B section. So the main melody for the A section so this, I just repeated it over here. Here, I just kind of paraphrased. I shortened it out a little bit. It's the same idea, but it's not exactly, because you don't want to be too repetitive. So right there, it's the B section. I wrote those, that little melody for the B section. The first time I finished with harmony, which is like notes from the chord. The second time, I modified a little bit, and I copied the A section again, paste it over here, and I just added an ending. Pretty much 2 notes for the ending. Let's listen to just the guitar by itself with the chords there from that ending. And that's pretty much it. I'm gonna show you guys a more simplified melody, because obviously that is, way too complex, especially if you're in Guitar 1. You're gonna want to do a melody that is way more simple. As long as you follow the notes. Let's see, where am I? As long as you guys follow the notes that that belong to the scale, if you guys want to add some of the notes, depending on what chord you're on, that I gave you guys on the arpeggios, you're more than welcome to if you want to challenge yourself. But I think if you just stick with the scale for this melody, that's fine. You can skip you can skip parts. You don't have to have a melody throughout the whole song. You can have, spaces of music where it's just the track that we did. You don't have to have a melodic note in every single part. You can take spaces, like for example, this is a simplified one. I actually waited for the first 4 measures. I didn't do any melody. Right there I did a melody. I changed it up a little bit. I have a melody for the B section that repeats. I copied and pasted. Right here I have no melody, so that's 4 measures without melody. Right here it's just the same idea, copy and paste from the A section. I just copied and pasted to this A section, and then I finished out with just 1 note, and that's pretty much the notes that we just did earlier in this tutorial. So just listen to this one. This is a more simplified version. Just check it out, see what you guys think about it. that's pretty much it. That's that's a simplified version. And there's a little bit more space. The notes are a little bit longer. If you guys want to stick with something like this, more simple, right here, towards the end of the A section before going to the B section, you can see here that I did some harmonies, two notes at the same time. These are notes that I chose from the chord. So if you go back and you see the chords and they're aligned. So if you go back and you see which chord it is on measure 13, 14, 15, 16, those are the notes that I was drawing notes from that chord, and I was placing those on each measure underneath for the melody. So you don't have to do two notes at the same time, three notes at the same time. If you want to, you can experiment with it. Harmonies sound beautiful, but you don't really have to. Actually, if you guys stick with something a little bit more simple, which means just maybe like whole notes, which means you're playing one note per measure. If you want to stick with something like that, just make sure that it doesn't sound too monotonous, that it doesn't sound too repetitive, that it's not so boring. Try to add, I don't know, as much spice as you can. Don't kill yourselves over this assignment either, but do try to make it as interesting as you can, because it is music. And I'm gonna say there's no wrong notes for this, okay? Because this is just whatever comes out of you. So it's not really gonna be. It's I'm not gonna say like, oh, there's something wrong, or as long as you guys use the notes that you guys have from the from the scale, then that's pretty much all you guys need, okay? And that's pretty much gonna be it. After you guys do this, I think we're gonna be sticking with MIDI. MIDI, I was gonna offer some of you guys to use an actual live instrument, but I think just in the interest of time, we only have a few more days left of school, so I'm gonna ask you guys. To go ahead and just do the MIDI. It's gonna be fine. Now, once you guys finish, the way you're gonna go ahead and send it to me is the following way. So you have to make sure that you're in the very beginning. You have to make sure that your levels are okay. If you want to add a little bit of reverb to anything, so for example, the Dreamy Bells, if you go to the smart controls, you can add reverb. Reverb gives instruments a sense of space. We're not gonna go into mixing. When you're dealing with all of this, I mean, that is very complex. That is mixing. Mixing is probably a whole year or 2 or 3. There's people that do that for a living. So we're not gonna do a whole lot of that. If you want to add a little bit of reverb, just adjust the volume to use earphones if you can, so you can hear, so that you have the right sound. You guys want to just make sure that the levels are okay. You don't have to mess with left and right panning. That's for a different for different class, different lesson. So the way you're gonna go ahead and do this, export it as sound, is you need to make sure that everything is unmuted. Everything, if something's muted or solo, that's how it's gonna come out. So you are going to, for GarageBand, there is a share option. You're gonna export it to disk. That means that it's gonna copy to your hard drive, for the computer's hard drive. I suggest that you use an MP3. You can use WAV. WAV is just a heavier file. It's like an HD version sound, okay? High definition sound. Just use MP3. MP3 is going to be more than fine. You're going to name your project, okay? So this is going to be GarageBand MIDI Project. I need you guys to have your name and your period. You have to have your name and your period. After you do that, you're going to click on desktop, so it actually saves on your desktop of your computer. you're gonna hit export, and let's try it. Once that happens, it's gonna bounce. That's it. This is called a bounce. So it's rendering the sound into a stereo track pretty much, which is left and right audio, and it's just throwing it out as sound, so that you can play it from a audio player. And that's pretty much it, guys. So for me, it is right here. Now that I have this, I can go ahead and email it. I can send it, attach it as an email, and I can send it. Okay? So that's pretty much it. That's all you gotta do. If you guys have any questions or comments, please go ahead and save them for the next class. We only have a couple of classes for this semester to end. Best of luck, and hope you guys enjoy this part of the project.